Guys, my name is Ankush Gaurav and I welcome you to Gone to Series. So far in the REST series, we learned about how to develop those kind of REST APIs which demands clients to make HTTP GET type of requests on them. Now in this tutorial, we are going to learn about how to develop those kind of REST APIs which would demand clients to make HTTP put kind of requests on them. And in addition to that, we are also going to talk about the use of request body annotation as well as the content type request header. So let's start. Guys, before I proceed further and explain everything in this tutorial, let me ask you a basic question. In what scenarios you want to develop REST APIs which demands GET type of requests to be made on them? Well, you would want to develop such kind of REST APIs for only those kind of scenarios where you want clients to read some data which is available at the server side. Now, same question for put kind of requests. In what scenarios you want to develop REST APIs which demands put type of requests to be made on them? Well, you want to develop such kind of REST APIs in only those kind of scenarios where you want clients to update certain information which is kept at the server side. Let me explain you this whole concept by taking a very basic example from this demo application which we have developed so far. So here, what if my requirement is that client should be able to modify a specific student's record which is present at the server, means at this application side. So I want to basically develop this REST API which I want to give to the clients so that clients would make a put request on this REST API. And in this REST API itself, clients would need to specify the name of the student which they want to modify at the server side. And along with the request, clients would also need to specify the information, maybe in the JSON format or in the XML format, which they want to update, which corresponds to this particular student at the server side. So question is, what tasks I need to perform in the application to develop this REST API? Well, the only task that I need to perform to develop this REST API is to include a new REST API controller method in the student info REST API controller.java class. So let us do one thing. Let me include this new REST API controller method in the student info REST API controller.java class, and later I would explain every single related concept in detail. All right, so let's start. So here I'm done with including this new REST API controller method to develop this REST API. So after developing this REST API, after including this REST API controller method here, now when a client is going to make a put request on this REST API, and when it is going to send some specific information, in the JSON or in the XML format along with this request, this application is going to make a call to this REST API controller method because of this request mapping annotation. So once this controller method is called, this path variable annotation is simply going to extract the value of name from the REST API which client has used to make the request, and is going to assign the same to the student name variable which is present after path variable annotation. And this is going to work, this overall concept of path variable is going to work exactly the same way as I explained you in the earlier tutorials while explaining you things about this REST API. Now, what is this request body annotation doing over here? Guys, if you notice, for this request to be successful, clients send some information either in JSON format or in the XML format to the server. Now, what request body annotation does, if it finds that the information has come in the JSON format, then it simply makes use of JSON related jars which are present on the class path of this project to convert JSON information into its equivalent Java object, that is this student object. And if it finds that the information has come in the XML format, then it simply makes use of XML related jars which are present on the class path of this project to convert XML message into its equivalent Java object, that is this student object. So request body annotation performs only one job, converting JSON format into its equivalent Java object or XML format into its equivalent Java object. So in whichever format data has come along with this request body annotation is simply going to convert into its equivalent Java object, that is this student object. This is what request body performs. Now inside this, what this REST API controller method is doing? Well, here it's trying to find out the matching student record using student name from the database. And once it has been successfully able to find out the matching student record from the database, it's going to simply update that student record using this information which client has sent along with the request. So if this controller method is successfully able to update the information into the database, it's simply going to return true, otherwise it's going to return false. So this is what this overall REST API controller method is performing. Now only thing pending here is to test this REST API. In the next tutorial, I would make use of Postman tool to test this newly developed REST API. And in addition to that, we are also going to learn about content type request header, which client needs to make use of while making the request for this REST API. All right, guys, a big thank you for learning REST API concepts using Spring MVC framework with me. If you have any feedback or any constructive comment, please provide them below the video or simply write to me on this email ID for all of your queries. Please hit the like button if you really like this video, and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel gontuseries. And I'm going to catch you in the next part of this tutorial.